whole game, South Africa with 300, so that tells the way that Wales play. They're not going to change at all because it's been successful against this South African team for the last couple of years. It's just when we've got our chances, we've got to be clinical and we've got to execute them when we have them.
The stage is set in Cape Town. We're seeing some beautiful shots at the moment of that wonderful stadium there in Cape Town, the mother city, right by the water, and plenty of Welsh fans there. Loads and loads of Welsh shirts, red shirts ready, Welsh flags as well. We can see as we wait for the two teams to come out for this huge deciding test in Cape Town. They'll be out shortly. Let's hear from the two coaches and find out how they're feeling then, shall we? Jacques Nienaber, the South African coach, and first of all, Wayne Pivac.
We came here to win a series. We're 1-1. We've got an opportunity. We've created that opportunity. So for us, it's about learning from the first two test matches, making sure we have our discipline over the 80 minutes, and we compete physically against the Springboks.
Talking about competing physically, what do you guys feel you need to do to get that right?
Well, you know, getting front foot ball, it's all about how we take the ball into contact, a bit of footwork, little tip-ons here and there. So, look, it's not about just running straight lines and being as physical as we can. So it's about being smart with a level of physicality as well.
Consistency in selection, but there is one late change on the bench. Rhys Patchell comes in for Gareth Anscombe.
Yeah, just Gareth took a bump during the week, so unfortunately he failed a fitness test at the last minute, but certainly Rhys Patchell's been training very, very hard. He's been working hard behind the scenes in all aspects of his game, so he gets an opportunity.
I think it's going to be, if you look at what happened in the first couple of games this weekend, I think it's going to be a proper test match, like a final.
Looking at last week, what are the key areas, Jacques, you've probably focused on this week to try and get the result?
I thought last week, I thought our exits weren't functioning well. And then, especially in the back end of it, that's how Wales got back into the game. We were comfortable 12-3, and then I thought our exits and our discipline gave them a foothold or gave them territory to get back into the game.
Two important milestones today. Eben Etzebeth gets his 100th cap and Bongi Monambi gets 50 caps.
Yeah, it's special, Shimmy. We said now, as a team, our job is to make sure that we make it special for them. We put in the effort for them. I know they will do the same for the team.
Oh, we're all feeling a little bit, I think, nervous about what's going to happen, aren't we, in Cape Town? Not quite sure how this is going to play out, but Gareth Delve and Richie Rhys, before we hand over to commentary and the teams come out. I mean, you look where we were just a few months ago at the end of the Six Nations. It looked like the world had caved in after that loss to Italy. And now, on the verge of history and winning a series there, how good would they feel coming back on that plane if they'd done it?
It'd be incredible. And the thing is, this level, it's the top 2 inches that take you a long way. Everyone very similar physicality wise and all the rest. To go there and get this win this series would mean there's no one to fear, and this Welsh team could really take off.
Yeah, I agree. It's just the opportunity we got today. Not many players would have had it. So there's a match day 23 and support staff. There's probably around 40 of them that I'm sure they've done in the week to get everyone to the start line. So we're there now. They've got 80 metres ahead and they have got the opportunity to make history. So here's hoping from the four of us sitting here in the studio that happens.
We can feel the nerves all this far away, can't we? Thousands and thousands of miles away. We're hearing that Josh Navidi is coming in for Taulupe Faletau, another late change for Wales, and Taine Basham is on the bench. Whew. And here they are, Dan Biggar about to lead Wales out for the third time in South Africa. The Wales captain knows that he has the chance to make history, strides out onto the field, touches the ground, and South Africa will follow. There'll be huge pressure on the home side to make sure that they stop Wales from reaching that history point today. But they were written off before the tour. Now they're writing history in South Africa. Their first ever win there last weekend. Can they get their first ever series victory over the Springboks? We followed this from start to finish. You are listening to BBC Radio Wales, and your commentary team for the deciding test is Richie Rhys and Gareth Delve, the former Wales internationals, alongside Phil Steele.
Thank you, Ian. We'll just reiterate that late change for Wales. Taulupe Faletau is out. That's the number 8. So Josh Navidi comes in as a straight replacement for him, and Taine Basham will be on the bench instead of Navidi. Gareth, a quick word on that from you.
It's a massive loss, and that's with all respect to Josh Navidi, fantastic player. Taine Basham, huge impact. But Taulupe Faletau is one of the finest dates in world rugby. The experience, he's been there, seen it. He's the man you would want in the trenches today with history on the line. But let's hope Josh can really step up and the boys can do the business.
So South Africa just out on the field as well in their familiar green and gold. 100th cap for Eben Etzebeth in the second row, and a 50th for Bongi Namambi at hooker. A 58,000 crowd at the DHL Stadium, also known as the Cape Town Stadium, as Manambi just getting shown on the big screen there, the 50th cap man. And Richie, just a quick word from you on the loss of Taulupe Faletau.
Yeah, I think a key area of that is going to be maybe a little tweak to the line-out that they probably wouldn't have trained that week, but Navs isn't particularly your line-out expert, your line-out forward. He's normally used out in that back line or 50s or 60 line-outs. So there's going to be a slight tweak there, so I'm sure they'll just go clean and simple to the front of the line-out early doors.
And in terms of physicality, no loss of physicality with Navidi?
No, he's probably a bit more straighter line, more up and down in Toby's footwork, but I think I was a little bit surprised Josh Navidi didn't start the game, but it's fantastic to see him get the opportunity to put 80 minutes in under his belt now in the last game of the season.
Just watching some African Warriors coming onto the field doing their pre-match bit. And I'll just run you through the two sides. South Africa go Damian Valemse at fullback, Cheslin Kobe, Luciano Am, Damian Dialende and Makazole Mapimpi in the back division. At halfback, Andre Pollard, the Leicester Tigers man, partners Jaden Hendrickse. Bit of a surprise that they left out Faf de Klerk. And then the forward pack, Trevor Nyakane, Bongi Namambi and Franz Malerba, the huge front row. Eben Etzebeth, the Centurion, Lloyd de Jager in the second row, Sia Kolisi, Peter Steph du Toit and Jasper Wiese. That's a massive pack, whichever way you look at it, Gareth.
Yeah, and I've got a few big boys sat on the bench too, so a world-class front row ready to come on at some point in the second half. So it's going to be a big challenge up front.
And Wales go Liam Williams at fullback, Louis Rees-Zammit, George North, Nick Tompkins and Josh Adams in the back division. Dan Bigger partnering Kieran Hardy at halfback, Gareth Thomas, Ryan Elias and Dylan Lewis the front row, Will Rowlands and Adam Beard in the boiler house, Dan Lydiot and Tommy Reffel and Josh Navidi in the back row. Dowie Lake, Wyn Jones, Sam Wainwright, Alan Wyn Jones, Tane Basham, Thomas Williams, Rhys Patchell and Owen Watkin on the bench. Here's Maen Vlad van Aardij. Much better start for Wales this week in terms of the anthem. Much better rendition than the rather John Redwood version we had the previous 2 weeks. And here we go with Nikosikeli Africa, God bless Africa. emotional God Bless Africa. Lines sung in 5 different languages: Xhosa, Zulu, Sesotho, Afrikaans and English, the anthem of the Rainbow Nation. So we're almost ready. History to be made? Question mark.
Right, 1-2.
Is this going to be Wales' first ever series win in South Africa? History is against them, of course. They made history last week with the first ever win on South African soil, but this is of an altogether different magnitude. It's a lovely early evening in Cape Town. It's just gone 5 o'clock there. Blue skies, not a breath of wind, perfect conditions. The referee, Mr. Matthew Carley of England. He'll be assisted by Angus Gardner of Australia and Nika Amushkeli of Georgia, who refereed the first test, and Brett Cronin will be the TMO. You have to mention the TMO because they can play such an important part in games these days, Richie.
Yeah, particularly last weekend we saw that with, at times sides down to 12, 13 men, and it has such an impact on the game. That's why we mentioned earlier on discipline is so important. I thought Wayne Barnes was excellent in the New Zealand Island game this morning, so let's hope we get the same thing for the next 80 minutes from Matthew Carley.
South Africa in their green and gold shirts, white shorts and green and gold socks, playing from left to right as we look at it, and Wales in their familiar red shirts and white shorts. And Wales are not lacking for support in the stadium.
There's plenty of pockets of red just in the stands.
Spotted a few flags, and Mountain Ash Rugby Club in particular, as Andre Pollard gets the game underway, and Josh Navidi takes it 2 hands just in his own 22. Late replacement, of course, if you have just joined us, the late replacement for Taulupe Faletau. We're not sure as yet what the problem was with Faletau, but as Gareth Delve was saying, he will be a big miss as Kieran Hardy kicks a little bit vertically. It does fall into the hands of Tommy Reffell, though just outside the Welsh 22, and you're very welcome on Radio Wales Sport this afternoon. Lydiate goes to ground just outside the Welsh 22, 5 metres from touch on this near side. Hardy just steadying himself and puts a box kick in, and that's well taken by Jasper Wiese, but it wasn't a bad kick either by Hardy on the halfway line. Enabled Wales to be competitive. Monambi, the hooker, just on the South Africans' 10-metre line as Pollard this time goes aerial. Liam Williams can't take it first time, and Luciano Am, the centre of the box, has it, and South Africa trying to get something going on their halfway line. Long kick down into Welsh territory.
Yes, advantage South Africa.
It is. Referee going to bring it back for the penalty. Just a comment on the first box kick by Kieran Hardy.
Yeah, it just went a bit shallow. It probably only went about 10 metres. Ideally, you probably want them to go about 20, 25, but that's 3 kicks in the opening 90 seconds of the game. So South Africa managed to gather the second box kick from Hardy. Wiese they got one phase. They went straight back in the air through Pollard, and that's where the penalty has come through a knock on, and then maybe tackling the man on the floor, Liam Williams, just on his own, the Welsh 10-metre line. So it's an opportunity straight away for South Africa to drive this deep into that Welsh 22.
And Pollard does dink it down into the Welsh 22 indeed. And a first look at the Wales line-out, Gareth Delve.
Yeah, this is sort of the area that Wales want to avoid, giving South Africa opportunities for easy territory, easy set piece. We know with their big pack they're going to look to rumble forward off this line out and draw people in, and that's led to yellow cards throughout this series.
The line-out is taken by Lou de Jager on the Wales 22, and at steerage class in the back is Monambi, the 50 capper, trying to get some momentum going. The Welsh maul has done okay so far though, and it's just a little creepage from South Africa. Now they have to use it, and they use their big runners just into the Welsh 22 now as Hendrikse gets de Jager running, and now the Boks have got a bit of momentum. Into the Welsh 22 they go. The Centurion Etzebeth. Penalty coming for South Africa. Wales infringing at the breakdown, but they do try and use it going left. With a little kick through, and it's going to be a score for Mapimpi.
Yeah, they'll just check this. Rhys-Sam is definitely pointing at that far touchline, so I'm sure it'll be checked, but it's a lovely kick from Am. It's just a short attacking kick in the Welsh 22. They've got advantage from the kick.
Well, the on-field decision is a try, and it looked pretty okay from the naked eye in real time.
Yeah, Mapimpi looks happy enough. So on-field try from the referee, Matthew Carley. Let's just have a... No, he's out.
Well, the replay showing that he's got his left foot well over the touchline, not just on the touchline, which would be good enough anyway.
And then the foot's on the line clearly when
yeah, so they'll go back for the advantage for the penalty in front of the posts.
So let off for Wales. Beautiful slide rule kick by Luciano Am, the Springboks centre.
No try.
But you'll think that Pollard will have no problem putting over the penalty kick. Something to worry about there behind the scrum?
I think it's interesting with the way that Wales and particularly Gethin Jenkins likes to defend. He likes them relatively narrow but aggressive, and what that does leave you open to and susceptible to is those short little attacking kicks. And when you've got someone the likes of Pollard and Am and Delande who have all got that right and left foot kicking option, then I think it does leave you open to that. So something Wales will have to be wary of. It asks your back three to do a lot in the pendulum in the backfield, as South Africa have just got the three.
Yep, Pollard chips it over from right in front of the post. So 4 minutes gone, it's 3-0. South Africa lead Wales. Gareth Delve.
Yeah, it was actually really good work at the breakdown from Will Rowland. But I think what the referee is looking at is Wales being slow to roll away. And these are the key penalties. Players need to make that impact at the tackle, get out of the way, get back to feet so they can, as Richie's saying, add that pressure in the line speed.
Bigger restarts to the right-hand side, and Will Rowland's got a hand down, but it went into South African hands eventually, and they're on their 10-metre line. Pollard takes the aerial route again. Bigger tried to get under it. Couldn't quite make it, and South Africa once again on the front foot, just inside the Wales half, as Pollard throws out a long pass to Etzebeth, who's in the outside channel on the Serengeti there. Bit of space for Etzebeth. Ball goes astray eventually, and Mapimpi has to check on the Wales 10-metre line, right over on that far side. Some excellent early possession for South Africa. Still on the Wales 10-metre line, 15 metres from touch. Hendrikse, slovenly ball for him.
Yeah, he's shaping to kick Hendrikse on the Welsh 10-metre line, so it's a clear tactic. They're sending Mapimpi after Liam Williams in the air in the 22. It's just too long.
And it's Kieran Hardy, in fact, who was back in the pocket, makes a good catch. Yep, just a little bit too long from Hendrikse.
Yeah, South Africa showing a bit of ambition there, and I think Wales were quite lucky. It was Etzebeth ended up in that wide channel. Rhys-Sam was dropping into cover there instead of sort of coming up and closing the gate. Could have been dangerous if it was a quicker man.
Hardy's kick didn't find touch. And a high kick from the box. And here's a chance for Willemse, just hauled down by Dan Biggar. Willemse had followed his own kick up, and South Africa are right on the front foot, 5 metres short on that left-hand side. They move it into the big men. It's Jasper Wiese, the number 8. Hendrikse once more to Kolisi, the captain. Wales under the pump here early doors. Out to this right-hand side. Cheslin Colby, just held by Josh Adams, and George North as well came across to do enough to get him into touch, but I think we're going to come back for another South African penalty.
Yeah, he's going to be lucky, Dan Biggar, here if he gets away with a yellow card, because after the line break, he's released the ball. As Damian Willemse, after he's regathered from a fantastic kick into the 22 from Pollard.
Well, he did a terrific job following up his own kick and leapt in the air like a homesick pheasant. And they've got the penalty for it, which Pollard now just dinks into the corner. Just seeing on the replay.
Yeah, he just gets caught under it, Dan Biggar. He's static under it. And the 15 for South Africa, Damian Willemse, he's got all the momentum going on to the ball. He's up, he's collecting. It just takes him to that 10 metres to the Welsh try line before they give the penalty away.
5 metre line out then from South Africa. We know what's coming. Wales will know what's coming. The whole 58,000 in the Cape Town Stadium will know what's coming. Taken to the front by De Jager. And here come the cavalry. Monambi at the back, just controlling the ball.
The initial Mull defence by Wales has been outstanding. Reffel holding off at the moment, he needs to add weight now.
Monambi releases it to Hendrikse, who finds Dialendi, the centre. He drives up almost to the Welsh line. Loud blast on the whistle. Referee checking on a possible try.
Yeah, it's a second carry. He stays on his feet, Damian Dialendi, off a driving, 5-metre driving lineup from South Africa. I think he's got the tip of the nose of that ball onto the line initially, then gets passed back.
Yeah, TMO again, the second one in the first 8 minutes. 3-0 Wales trail, but already you get the feeling, Gareth Delve, that these are big moments.
Yeah, massive moments, and Wales have started so well in the initial 2 tests, so obviously the case of not wanting to fall behind this big, powerful Springboks team with a really impactful bench. But the initial Mull defence from Wales was outstanding. So Tompkins on the ball here, trying to wrap that up.
And Dialendi, well, it's difficult to see whether it's just touched the line. The line is a try, of course, but it's whether Wales were just able to hold him at that very last moment. Watching the replay now that the TMO has got. The on-field decision, we should say, is no try.
On-field is no try. Clear, compelling evidence. Obviously, it'll be a try. If not, short 5-metre attacking scrum.
These are the voices of the TMO, Brett Cronin, and the referee Matthew Carley. Well, the crowd have given it as a try. I think we can say that.
Matthew, yes, Brett. There's no clear evidence of the ball on the line, so you need to go back to a 5-metre scrum to green.
Okay. No try.
So South Africa will get a 5-metre scrum with the put-in. Out of the frying pan into the fire, it could well be.
Yeah, such a tight call out. It's good initial set piece, physical dominance from South Africa. They send Dialendi up, who's done it all for the last 3 seasons for South Africa and Munster. And it's a very, if he hasn't got any part of the ball onto that line, then I'll give you my house. But
it's a key interpretation though, like you say, it's just, so they've obviously decided he's grounded short as opposed to being held up, because if he's held up, that's a goal line dropout and Wales get a chance to relieve pressure. So I guess they've decided he has just grounded it just short.
Yes, what doesn't help Dialendi there, he asked the referee on field, says it's no try, so if he asks a different question, is there any reason why he cannot award the try, then the try will be given. So it's all down to interpretation, but Wales got to hang on you. What are we, the first 8-9 minutes into the game?
3-0 Wales trail on BBC Radio Wales Sport. Now this 5-metre scrum is 15 metres from the far touchline, so there's a bit of a blind side to work with on the left if South Africa fancy it. Hendrikse to feed. Referee not happy with the way the 2 front rows have gone down. How important is the first scrum, not just of any match, Gareth, but this one in particular?
It's crucial. You look at this the Springboks team, and they've got absolute monsters. They've got 6 of them in this matchday squad, and expect a bit of set piece dominance from them. So really important for Dylan and Gareth Thomas really to step up. When you're this close to the line as well, it's easy for the back row to start sort of hanging off, meerkatting, worrying about Visa breaking off, but they need an 8-man shove here, Wales. And they need the sort of inside backs then to do their defensive job.
Here we go then, 10th minute. South Africa 3, Wales 0. A 4th-minute penalty by Andre Pollard as Hendrikse feeds the scrum. It's crabbing a little bit to the left, but South Africa now have got a drive on, held at the back by Visa, who tries to make his way to the line. He's just held up though, 2 metres short.
Disadvantage for Wales. Reffel offside to make that tackle.
Du Toit is the first run of the flanker. Now they go through Manabi. Hendrikse once more, it's still a bit slow, and Visa has to check that in the shadow of the Wales post, with the penalty advantage to come, are the Springboks. Some good counter-rucking by Wales has slowed this ball down. Now Hendrikse gets it to the left. Pollard feigns a long cut-out pass and then has to try a dink through, which comes to nothing, but South Africa will get the penalty. As Hendrikse just feigns to take a quick one, perhaps spotting there wasn't much Welsh defence on that far side.
Yeah, Closey will just be saying, look, let's go for a scrum again here, surely. that front row for Wales, Gareth Thomas, Ryan Elias and Dylan Lewis. They've done well in the opening 2 games, but fatigue does take its toll. They're 10 minutes into a fast, open-paced 3rd test. Are they going to want to scrum again? It's exactly what South Africa have asked for.
And I think the decision-making here from Khaleesi, he's felt, this scrum going forward, he knows Wales are under pressure. He wants 7 points, not 3, potentially with a yellow card. And that was the difference last week when Alun Wyn Jones got yellow carded. The Springboks had a penalty in front of the post with sort of 20 minutes to go, chose to take the points instead of sort of really ramming home that opportunity. So
4 penalties against Wales in the first 11 minutes of the game. Talked about discipline, Gareth, before the game.
Yeah, discipline's key because this Springbok team want to go from set piece to set piece, and this is a huge opportunity for them 5 metres out.
Yeah, 15 metres, 16 metres in from the far left touchline as the scrum goes down. And if Wales can withstand this opening onslaught from the box, they may, Richie, be able to glean a bit of confidence from that.
Yeah, we'll take that. Four penalties, as we've just touched on, Phil, and we actually think we've got out of the 22. Really, we had any meaningful possession just outside the 22. That was a good shot there. It was Trevor Carney against Dylan Lewis, both shaking their head, both looking at each other. Neither their fault with that scrum going down. It's being reset. The scrum is still South Africa ball on that Welsh 5 metre line.
So the scrum has crabbed in a bit now. It's about 17 or 18 metres in, so an even bigger blindside on that left-hand side. 5 metres from the Wales line. Here comes the drive. Oh, the ball has popped out though, and Kieran Hardy's got it. Loud blast on the whistle. Penalty again to South Africa. That's the 5th. Against Gareth Thomas by the look of it. Now, well,
they got a
5 penalties in 12 minutes.
Yeah, there'll be the 3rd scrum penalty if they go again after this, and this is where it's just the area of the field. Matthew Carley has to ask the question, look, at what point do we just change the prop, get a yellow card on, get him off, and then let's see if we can set a scrum with a different prop. But no one wants to see reset scrum after reset scrum.
Yeah. Gareth Thomas, his initial work was fantastic. He actually had Malherbe who's pointing in, but just him switching his hips towards the touchline then made it too obvious that he was sort of boring across. His initial work was fantastic, but right in front of Carley then he's just seen to hitch out too much, slide around the side.
Penalty against you, you're boring. You're not too interesting yourself, referee. Famous words by the great Phil O'Callaghan, the Island prop. Those who are in the amateur days years gone by, this is very much the professional era, and it's a professional scrum by South Africa, once again driving, held at the back by Visa. Another penalty coming as Kieran Hardy puts his hand in to stop it. A Nyaneba though, Hendricks around the scrum half has taken it quickly. Referee's allowed it to play, so we've got a ruck now, a metre from the line, as Pieter-Steph du Toit, the open sider, Diacha, the second row, they're all keen, these Springbok forwards. The Centurion, Etzebeth, has a go. They're in under the Wales posts now. Visa again, the number 8. Well, this defence by Wales is miraculous at the moment. Du Toit again. It's just half a metre. Pollard has a go. Pollard's over the line, and it had to come. An air of inevitability about that one. And despite all the tries by the forwards and the forward drives, it was Pollard, the fly half, who did the business in the end.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the referee Matthew Carley's going to check anything, but it was just big runner after big run. It's always going to take its toll on that Welsh defence. They're 8-9 phases into that. They've done well, Wales initially, but it's always going to take its toll. It's Pollard that's got over the line, but we just can't see if the referee Matthew Carley's just checking something. As Pieter-Steph du Toit just takes the last but one carry, and there comes Pollard, splits Dan Lydiate, and Ryan Elias just pokes his nose over the try line with the ball. But it's always been coming as a double head collision. That's what they're checking, so it might be 2 HIAs. So Dan Lydiate head on head with Ryan Elias as Pollard goes over for the try. But it was always coming, that try, Phil.
Almost impossible to defend, Gareth.
Yeah, Wales, the initial defence was fantastic, but just ran out of bodies. When you get that close to the line with the big men rolling around the corner, it's just so hard. You need pressure on the ball, but again, the Springbok team, well drilled, always on the front foot there, and Wales just unlucky to run out of bodies.
The Pollard adds a try to his earlier penalty. 8-0 with this conversion to come. And it's should be pretty much meat and drink. It's just outside the 15-metre mark, just outside the 22. And Pollard does indeed swing it around. So Pollard's up to 10, South Africa up to 10. 15 minutes in, South Africa 10, Wales 0.
Yeah, we touched on it pre-game, just between the four of us here, how important a big disciplined start was. It's exactly what we haven't had. It's exactly what we haven't had, and it's no coincidence we are now 10-0 down. It's you can't physically back up losing collision after losing collision. The endeavour is there from the Wales defence at the minute.
You're just seeing Dan Lydiate going off with a cut head, holding some cotton wool over his right eye.
Looks like Alan Wynne trotting on.
Alun Wyn Jones coming on for his 153rd appearance for Wales. On for Dan Lydiate, so we'll have to see how Dan Lydiate goes with the HIA and the blood, of course. Now the three officials are having a chat on the halfway line, the trio of them.
Yes, interesting might be whether one of them believes that either Ryan Elias or Dan Lydiate was knocked out or unconscious, because they can't overrule the medics. They seem to have got together though and decided, right, they'll believe the medics in this instance, as Dan Biggar just shapes for the restart of the game.
It's interesting. I wonder whether it's based around set piece that they brought Alun Wyn on for Dan Lydiate. Obviously Taine Basham in the back row change on the bench, but obviously probably giving away a good 20 kilos to someone like Alun Wyn, and you need to shore up this set piece.
The fact that Taine wouldn't have trained much as well with that squad this week, Alan would have been there in and about to 23.
So a blood injury for Dan Lydiate, not an HIA we hear. South Africa have taken the kick off from Biggar, and Hendricks of the scrum half hoists it skywards into the Cape Town evening air, and Liam Williams does a fantastic job diffusing that one and sets it on that far side just inside the Springboks half. Tommy Reffel has a go on the halfway line. Biggar to Alun Wyn Jones. This is the first sustained Wales possession we've seen. 10-0 they trail 16 minutes in, as Dick Tompkins has a little attempt at dancing through the midfield. His pass is not good though. Biggar has to go back, and so does Josh Adams eventually on his own 10-metre line, and he sets it midfield just inside the Wales half. But at least Wales are getting a little bit of possession. Tompkins looking to free George North. North going down the left-hand side, makes it up to the 22. Tompkins, the emergency scrum half, to Alun Wyn Jones in the fly-off position. Long pass from Jones. Here's Josh Adams. Josh Adams with a cut-out pass to Rhys Zammit on the wing. Zammit makes his way to the 22. This is better stuff from Wales. First time they've had consistent possession in the match. They're into the 22 of the box now as Elias takes it on.
He lost his feet, didn't get a lift.
Hardy. Barnes-Wallace pass picked up by Adams in the centre position. Adams to Tompkins, good hands to George North. Steps outside his man on the left wing, North. Wales are just about 10-12 metres short now on this left-hand side. Adams goes back to strength. Hardy nicely away from the base to Navidi. The late placement for Faletau. Still 10-0 Wales trail on Radio Wales Sport. Biggar, a no-look pass to Tompkins. Centre field still Wales. Hardy keeps it going right to Alun Wyn Jones. Out of the back door from Rhys Zammit to Liam Williams, who had to check, and he's gone back, but is still on the South African 22 through Zammit. Rhys Zammit. Still just inside the Springboks 22. Gareth Evans. Nice hands from Biggar to Tompkins, and there's a bit of space out here for...
What a tackle.
Adams inside though, and it's going to be a try for Reffel. We'll have to see. I think the referee might be...
No, he's given it.
He's given it.
Yeah, what an attacking set from Wales. They probably went 12, 13 phases in that South African 22. And there's a ball over the top from Josh Adams, and he's just tackled in the corner. It's an outstanding tackle by Damien Willemse, but a lovely inside support line from Tommy Reffel. He's been outstanding the whole series as Tommy Reffel, but he's on the shoulder, inside support line, and he's got over the line.
Well, we're just watching the replay now. Great play from Nick Tompkins. Lovely pass to Adams, and Adams, well, he's allowed to pass from the floor, of course, if he does it immediately, and there in his shadow was Tommy Reffel, the Pencoed RFC product, to score in the corner. Well, what a riposte from Wales as we watch Dan Biggar just attempting this conversion from the left-hand touchline.
It was absolutely fantastic play by Wales there. The ball movement, you know, a few loose passes in there, but still players picked that up, went forward, and I was amazed by just how passive the South African defence was. Each time we carried, made yards, there was no sort of pressure or competition at the breakdown.
Yeah, and what really stressed South Africa in that instance was the speed of ball. As you touched on, the shape probably wasn't amazing from Wales, but the speed of ball is so high, it then doesn't allow South Africa to get on the line. We've seen Ireland do it a lot over the last 18 months. They rely on speed of ball rather than shape in attacks. Exactly what worked for Wales there. They were bold, they were brave, they went width to width, and they got over the try line.
The kick-off is taken by Navidi. Well, what will that do for Wales in terms of confidence? End of the first quarter on Radio Wales Sport, 10-5. Wales trail, but they've scored a magnificent try through Tommy Reffell. High kick from Hardy, and South Africa spill that. Visa, and Biggar gets Wales going inside pass to Kieran Hardy. Referee's whistle had already gone though. Should say as well that George North in that move turned up a couple of times on the left wing. Real steam hammer handoff to get the initial Wales attack.
Yeah, it's George North's ability to beat defenders. We touched on earlier on with Josh Adams. We haven't seen him on the ball enough. It's exactly the same for someone like George North. That's the strength to his game. We need to see him around, and he was outstanding in that attacking set for Wales.
Yeah, I think a forward pass from Biggar there, but I think the referee's whistle might well have gone before that.
Just think, obviously it all happened so quickly, but really lazy runner there. Ludiaga trying to get back into position. He's cut off that option for Dan Biggar to go wide to the right. Just whether it's worth throwing that pass into the back of him, because he had to check. You know, it's the type of thing referees need to be aware of, because you know the lazy runner is something you'd usually penalise. It's cut down options to get wide. And again, that's where Wales have been looking dangerous.
And one man who will be delighted with that try by Tommy Reffell, his first in international rugby, on his third appearance, will be his mentor, the former PE teacher at Pencoed Comprehensive School, Simon King, a man I know that you know, a great rugby man. Simon King has coached in the Premiership with Aberavon, Pontypridd and Cardiff, and brought Sam Costello and Tommy Reffell through.
Yeah, took him out of school in Bridgend, took them up to Leicester. They both got meaningful game time, and Reffell's been outstanding for the last 18 months for Leicester, and not quite rightly too. He's been brought into the Welsh setup, and you know, him, Will Rowlands, probably Tompkins have probably been the standout Welsh players this tour, you know. And as you touched on, Phil, it's good for these players. They just need to play, and that's the opportunity. As soon as they get that opportunity, then it's over to them. They need to take that chance, and I'm sure he has, and his parents have, and his ex-teachers have.
Still waiting for this scrum to go down. It's on the Welsh 22, 15 metres from touch on the Welsh left. That's this near side. Played 39. South Africa have won 31. Wales have won 7, and there's been one draw in the fixtures between these two sides.
Yeah, Willie LaRue's just come on. I'm not sure if it's HIA's just come on for Chelsea and Clovelly, so it would be interesting how they shift that back three for South Africa.
Whether it was that handoff by George North doing the damage there. Was,
which one? I think it was about four handoffs. I think.
The piston.
Interesting to see this Welsh scrum now. They've been under a little bit of pressure. We've got Will Rowlands on this blindside flank at the moment. That looks fairly steady from Wales though. And in fact they get a penalty to Wales. Penalty against Nyakane, the South African loosehead, stepping across.
Two big side steps and then to the ground, number one.
Yeah, Wales will be happy with this. It's just on the Welsh 10-metre line, but it's all the pressure's been on Wales. 21 minutes into this game. It's 10-5 South Africa. The territory stat we just saw, it was 75% territory to just 25 for Wales. So Wales will be happy with this. They can just Dan Biggar can kick this deep into the South African 22 and can just control the next 5-10 minutes getting in towards half-time.
Well, not only, Gareth, does it look as if that, obviously has got Wales on the scoreboard at 10-5, but it seems to have taken a bit of a sting out of the Springboks, to my way of thinking.
It has, Phil, and like I say, I was amazed by how passive they were in defence. You know, there were no big hits, there was no one sort of flying off the line or being, you know, the dominance you expect from the Springboks at the breakdown. They didn't seem that interested, and considering they'd had sort of so much dominance prior to that. I think it's really stung them, and there's some big ball carries in this Welsh team.
As Kieran Hardy finds George North running in the midfield after Alun Wyn Jones had taken a lovely off the top ball in the line out. Tompkins trying to find Liam Williams. It's gone astray though, and South Africa have it in the form of Mapimpi, the left winger, who finds Willemse as they run out of their 22. Good counter rucking by Wales though. Welsh knock on, no, we're going to come back for a South Africa scrum.
There's attacking start to play from Wales. It was good shape. Liam Williams asked the question of Matthew Carley, was it an early tackle which forced the knock on? But I think he's happy with his original call, Carley. So it's a knock on from Wales just on that South African 22, which will allow South Africa to try and manipulate this scrum so they can get a bit of field position back.
And I think that's what Wales need to avoid. It was sort of that pass up the line. It was a little bit sort of 50-50 with Williams being tracked. Wales have shown when they keep hold of the ball, they go through the phases. I think could really do some damage against this Springbok defence.
Just looking at some handling errors just come up on the screen. 2 for Wales, 1 for South Africa. The penalty count seems to have calmed down anyway as far as Wales are concerned. It was 4 in the first 11 minutes. So this scrum is just on the South African 22, centre field. Scrum goes down, penalty to South Africa.
Don't speak too soon, Phil. Don't speak too soon, Philip.
Yeah, the old commentator's curse there. Given against Dylan Lewis that time.
Yeah, that pitch isn't looking great. That was cutting up quite a bit, innit? I think Dill was just checking his feet after that. But there's a lot of slipping going on. The top of the turf is just coming off.
Yeah, but it's not an excuse. We need the feet up and we need square. That's 2 against each. Be very careful.
Well, that sounds like a bit of a final warning from Mr. Carley, the referee.
Yeah, it seemed like a tough one because it did look like Lewis just lost his foot in there. And accounting for this pitch, because it does seem to be cutting up really quickly. It's not something you'd say is underhand. It's just that amount of pressure going through. It's got to give somewhere.
Pollard's clearance takes play just inside the Welsh half. South Africa get the throw, of course. 25 minutes in on Radio Wales Sport, 10-5. South Africa lead in the decider. Wales chasing a first ever series victory in South Africa. 4-man line from South Africa taken by Du Toit at the back.
Advantage again, South Africa. Wales has got a penalty. He's gone against Dylan Lewis for going into the side of this drive-in line out.
And Dylan Lewis came in again then from the side. So a chance of a double penalty nearer the Wales line, but South Africa do decide to try and run it behind. Not with any great success. The referee will come back for the penalty.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's a really cheap penalty, and that's there's 2 in succession for Lewis. He's just piggybacked the box, sort of, potentially about 80 metres down the field.
I just think I heard Matthew Carley using the word final warning just in the background there. 8 penalties for Wales now. We played 26 minutes. Pollard dinks the ball into the Wales 22, and South Africa will get an attacking line out about 15 metres from the Wales line over on that far side.
Yeah, it's coach killers really, because the Springboks have gone from their own 22 down to the Welsh sort of 5-10 metre line without doing anything at all really. So as we spoke about discipline before, it really is going to be key for Wales closing out this first half.
Taken by De Jager in the middle. Once again, the familiar sight of Monambi. Holds the ball at the back of the maul. Just trying to get a bit of momentum going. And they are going forward, South Africa. Not at any great rate of knots, but as long as they are creeping forward, referee will be okay. And this time it's Wiese at the back. Peels off and drives his shoulder, taken down by Gareth Thomas. 5 metres from the Wales line. Some good counter-rucking by Wales, and they might just have turned this. Yes, they have, and Hardy sweeps it away to Biggar, but it was a half volley of a pass, and Biggar did well to scoop it up and find Rhys Zammit on his right shoulder, and Zammit puts it down the touchline. Not into touch though. and South Africa try and move it. Willie LaRue on the Wales 10-metre line, 15 metres from touch on that far left-hand side.
Good feet, Mapimpi, just against Josh Navidi.
Yeah, just gets South Africa going on the front foot, although they concede at the ruck a Wales penalty and a chance for Wales to exit out of their own half.
Yeah, superb maul defence again by Wales. Really are doing a great job on that Springbok driving maul. And then a superb pickup by Dan Biggar off his laces on the try line.
Yeah, if I was both captains now, Siya Kolisi and Dan Biggar, I wouldn't be happy with some of Matthew Carley's refereeing calls. He's very indecisive. He's saying one thing, but then allowing them to get away with it. It's happened twice for both sides now. So it just puts that little bit of indecision in the attack and the defence. So he's just got to be a bit clearer in his calls too. But just 10-5 South Africa after 28 minutes on the clock.
Walter Carrier's coming on at the moment. Mark Davis, the very experienced Welsh physio, is on as well. One of the great characters of Welsh rugby. Carcass, as he's known, played twice for Wales as a flanker from the Swansea club in his own career.
Yeah, he's a great man, Carc. He's more tours than Gulliver, hasn't he? He's never-ending association with Wales, and he's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, Nanta Ffyllon's finest in the Llinvi Valley. Mark Davis. 51,000 the official attendance, we're told, which is about 6,000 short of the official capacity. He's one for the stories, isn't he, Carcass, when he gets going with the pint?
Yeah, he'd have plenty of stories, just to know how many you can understand.
Just watching a replay of the Andre Pollard try from earlier. That was in the 15th minute. He converted that and also put over an early penalty. Wales replied, if you're just joining us, with a wonderful try by Tommy Reffell, who was on the end of a nice bit of work by Josh Adams. And some beautiful combined play in which George North was in the van a couple of times. And a really top quality try from Wales.
And I think we've looked the more dangerous team with ball in hand, Phil. We really have tested the Springbok defence when we've gone through the phases, whereas they've seemed to be 1-2 phases, go to the sky again. So, some really positive signs for Wales, just need more possession.
Dan Biggar kicks banana fashion down towards the South Africa 22. And if you're not familiar with the banana kick, Richie Rees will enlighten us, I'm sure.
Kerry Sweeney invented it, straight off the shin he used to put it, Sweeney. But you effectively kick on the outside of your boot, you're shaping the ball to the top left and just take it away if you're on the wrong side of the field.
And Alun Wyn Jones does the business at the line out, and George North comes running hard up the midfield on the Welsh 10 metres line. Biggar steps back inside, finds Will Rowlands as Wales try to get a bit of go forward, 10 metres from the South Africa 22. To the right hand side they go. Tompkins, pass picked up by George North, and Liam Williams is in the line, and Navidi was out on the right wing.
Good tackle, Damien Williams on Liam Williams.
I think we're going to have a look. Was it a knock on in the tackle? We're just looking at it now. It was Liam Williams. It was no, I think it was just the tackle. It nearly hit the touch judge on the head on the far side. But yeah, great work by, was it Valemsa?
Yeah, the 15 for South Africa. He's just closed really early, put all the pressure on the passing man. Last but one on an edge. Wales had Josh Navidi just hanging out there, but he just a bit too flat, and it was an excellent timing by Damien Williams to force a knock on and line out for South Africa.
Which is taken by the Centurion, Etzebeth.
Hands up, four, thank you.
And how often have we seen this so far in the opening half hour? The driving line out. Hendrikse propels it down that left touchline.
Good kick.
Rhys Sammet does well though, takes it in the air and manages to turn as he goes to ground and protect the ball for Wales. Excellent play by the young winger. And Gareth Thomas has to show his Gareth Edwards skills at the base and finds Will Rowlands as the first runner. Wales just inside their own 22 on that far side. Kieran Hardy using a one-man caterpillar before he puts it up right-footed again down those tram lines. Ball bounces fortuitously to Reffell, and Wales have got possession on the halfway line. Navidi, Biggar, conjurer's hands from the fly half to Gareth Thomas. Still just inside the Welsh half. They come to the left-hand side. Biggar kicks down as has found a bit of green down in the South African 22, and Willie LaRue has to go scooting back and use his trusty left boot to find a touch on that left-hand side on the Springbok 22, but a net gain for Wales.
Yeah, good from Biggar. There was absolutely no shape outside him. There's nothing to play to. He stepped back inside, saw Willie LaRue's on the far 15-metre in that backfield and just put it down the middle of the park, and which allows Wales a line out just inside that South African half.
A couple of Springboks down at the moment.
It's Trevor Nkane, I think it is.
Yeah, now Nkane. 10-5 Walesie. We played 31 minutes on Radio Wales Sport. You were saying about Wales looked pretty useful, Gareth, when they give it width. That was another case in point. Okay, the ball, the pass to Navidi ended up in touch, but they seem to have found some gaps out wide, Wales.
Yeah, making a lot of yardage out there, and it took a great tackle from Willems to shut it down, with the 2-on-1 on the edge. I just think there are some really soft yards in this Springbok team, which is rare. They seem really soft with any sort of ball movement, which is why Wales have got to go beyond that sort of one pass, playing off 9 element. I think been quite brave so far, playing the pass out the back, getting that extra width, and I think with our big ball carriers in that back line, the South Africans don't seem to fancy it.
So here's the line out for Wales on the South African 10-metre line. Ryan Elias to throw. Adam Beard gets the long arm to it. Now Biggar to Tompkins, back to Biggar. Rees-Zammit had come in from his wrong wing, and that's
50-22.
That's a lovely kick by Rees-Zammit. I think it was.
Depends where the line out starts. Yeah, it was carried back.
Taken back in, yeah. But for one moment, as Gareth Delph said, it just looked as if it was a 50-22. Still a useful prod, though, from Rees-Zammit. And has given Wales some territory, if not possession, from the line out. Shortened line up by South Africa. They go to the front to Du Toit, and now Siya Kolisi is first receiver, running it out of his 22. 10-5 Wales trail.
Yeah, South Africa going for speed on their exit policy. They went to the prop at the front, just in and out.
Hendrikse, loud blast on the whistle though, and it's a penalty to Wales in the South African 22. It's against Peter Steph du Toit. And it's, eminently kickable for Dan Biggar, and a real bonus for Wales this could be.
You then put your hands up to push him. If you want to stand there, you must stay still.
It's a gift.
Yeah, so it's gone against Peter Steph du Toit. He's blocking Hendricks as he's going for the kick, but what he do, he can't move, so he stands there initially, and what he then can't do is obstruct anyone coming through. Oh, it's a harsh penalty, that is. So Alun Jones is jumping in front of him to try and get that challenge on that box kick, but he's saying Peter Steph du Toit can't move. It's difficult not to move if Alun Jones is jumping straight on top of you, but it's a chance for 3 points for Dan Biggar, right in front of the posts.
Yeah, 16 metres, the official distance. Crowd don't like it, but here's a chance for Dan Biggar to cut the lead to 2 points. Right footed, just a little 8-eye, and over it goes. It's South Africa 10, Wales 8, and we played 33 minutes.
Yeah, you don't tend to get those calls against the Springboks in South Africa, so probably one of the softest penalties.
Yeah, he said just on the ref, Mike, I heard he mentioned that the Jasper Wiese did exactly the same earlier, and he warned him. So it's obviously the second time he's mentioned. He's obviously got it in his head, and it's a cheap 3 points for Wales, but it's 10-8.
Pollard's kick out bounces off a Wales hand, and South Africa are in possession straight away in the Wales 22. Wiese, the number 8. Hendrikse to the man who gave the penalty away, Peter Steph du Toit. To the left they go, Etzebeth, still in the Wales 22. Wiese again carrying. Now it's back to the right-hand side. Etzebeth once more, down it goes for a very quick ruck. Hendrikse fast again from the base.
He's not on the ball, he's not on the ball.
Still in the Wales 22. Now Pollard coming to this right-hand side. Willie LaRue exerts puts in a switch with Luciano Am, the centre. Still on the Wales 22. Now going back to the left-hand side. Wiese to Du Toit. Good Wales tackling though, first up. Keeping the box at bay. Again, they come in the form of Etzebeth. Now to the left-hand side, just outside the 22. Quick hands from Leroux. To Mapimpi that time. Visa again, the number 8. It's just wave of green coming at Wales, although South Africa do spill it in the end, and Wales have burgled possession.
This could be trouble for Mapimpi here.
Although it looks as if the referee has blown, I think he's given a penalty to South Africa.
Yeah, it's a high shot against Nick Tompkins as he's falling, as he's carrying the ball.
First thing he did when he was tackled was put his hands to his head. Can you just check him, please? Number 12.
The referee just checking with asking Mark Davis, the Wales physio, can he check? It seemed to me that the referee put his hand up, penalty to Springboks.
Yes, it was a cheap turnover from Hendricks in the Welsh 22. He's looking for an inside ball. Mapimpi ends up going on his outside, so Wales get ball back. As Tompkins got the ball, he's going to Florence. Mapimpi, he's not an awful lot in it, I don't think, but referee wants Carcass Mark Davis, the physio for Wales, to check Nick Tompkins, but Tompkins got up and walked off. He doesn't want to be a part of any HIA assessment going off the field.
Well, he's given the penalty to Wales. No issue of no yellow there, Richie, for you?
No, not for me, just because of the height for him. I think his knees were on the floor. He was the second tackler going in, so it's always difficult then. So I think it's probably the right call from Matthew Carley. Again, good defensive set from Wales, though. If you look at going into half-time now, just 5 minutes into half-time, the amount of possession phases they've gone through, the time that they've spent in that Welsh 22 South Africa, they haven't come away with an awful lot. Still only 10-8.
I don't want to be the commentator's curse here, Gareth, but is it possible that Wales have started to find a bit of what they had under Warren Gatland, the stubbornness and the resilience that they've shown it over the last 2 tests, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely, and I think that toughness to stay in the fight, that hasn't been there at times, under Wayne, and I think that's partly down to the team probably not having that much time together, due to COVID. So going away on tour 3 weeks, hopefully it's tightened the team up, and they are fighting for each other.
Yeah, I think this attack probably suits Wales' defence. So there's not a lot of ball movement. It's just one-up carries, looking to get over the gain line. Well, Wales at the minute are more than happily defending it.
Josh Navidi carries up after Wales won the line out from the Dan Biggar penalty. Still in their own half though, Wales, and the ball coming from the breakdown is a bit slovenly indeed. South Africa have turned it. Hendrickse to Visa, and Wales are virtually back where they started, now defending just outside their own 22. 10-8 they trail, 4 minutes to half-time on Radio Wales Sport as this looks promising. Kolisi for South Africa coming down this right side flank, put down by Liam Williams, but he's made it to within 10 metres of the Wales line. Etzebeth carrying, penalty coming
again, yeah.
Penalty coming to South Africa. Referee blows and he gives it now. Will there be a card? That's the question.
Yeah, there's lots going off the ball. It's Damien Delaney, Liam Williams and Josh Adams. Between the three of them, they aren't happy. There's a few hands in faces. The assistant referee on this near side, Angus Gardner, has got involved. So let's have a listen.
Where's 12? Where's 12?
Well, he's calling over Damien Dielendi
Josh, just stand there for a
and Josh Adams. Dan Biggar's coming along as well, so is Kolisi, so the captains are involved.
We had a clear deal before the game. The stuff off the ball wasn't going to happen. Now you're on penalty advantage, and I see these two players grappling with each other off the ball, okay? I've stopped the game, you've lost your advantage. We'll come back to the original penalty, but let's be clear, that stops now. Okay, both sides. Okay, we're coming back to the offside.
A handshake between Damien Dielendi and Josh Adams and Dan Biggar.
Where's the offside?
And the ASBO's convention is over. 10-8, South Africa lead, 3.5 minutes to half-time.
If we can really hold out here, I think this is going to be massive. It's a penalty, South Africa, probably just 10 metres from that Welsh try line. It's an interesting decision. Is Pollard going to... 5 metres from that Welsh line. With the dominance they're having in the scrum, do they go scrum? Is Pollard going to the corner? It looks like he's going to the corner.
Yes, he is.
I agree with you, Richie. I think the way the Welsh pack are defending these driving line out, don't want to put the curse on them, but I think a scrum would have been a better option.
Oh, you've said it now, it's too late, guy. You put it.
What about the kick to make it 13-8? Anyway, all academic, they've gone for the line out. 3 minutes exactly to go. Wales's maul defence, as Gareth Delve was saying, has been pretty good in the first half. 10-8 they trail. And 8-4 they trail on the penalty count. Here we go, South Africa. Monambi at the back, driving the ball. There's a fair bit of momentum. Monambi peels off and scores.
Yeah, he's there on his 50th. It was a fantastic setup initially from South Africa for that driving line. Now he's nice and clean. They beat Adam Rowlands in the air off the floor, and then they've set it up. Mbambe, as we've seen him for 4 or 5 driving line out attempts from South Africa already. He's just stayed there, and he's got over the try line on his 50th cap for South Africa in the Springboks.
11th try for the Springboks for Bongi Monambi. And we've said about the Welsh maul defence, they were pretty much taken to the cleaners there, Gareth.
Yeah, well, the initial drive wasn't too bad. Springboks started to build momentum, but it just seemed a big gap built between Hardy and Josh Adams. Josh Adams holding the width, even though there was no Springbok attack out on the right. You just think you need to tighten up any spaces off the side, because Monambi's just sort of rolled off the back of that and straight in. So I think Brian Elias did the right thing initially hitting it, but then you just need that bit of support from your back line just to close up any gaps, make them go the long way round.
Andre Pollard from wide out on this right-hand side to try and make it a 2-score game. 15-8, South Africa lead Wales on Radio Wales Sport. Here comes Pollard and bisects the posts perfectly. So it is a 2-score game. South Africa 17, Wales 8.
And I do blame Richie then for talking up the Welsh line-out defence. He's definitely put the curse on him there.
So now, Richie, Wales just hold the score until the interval, basically, is it?
Yeah, I think I'd leave these breakdowns alone as well. Just let South Africa be nice and clean on these exits, and then Wales are back in control. They want to get into half-time, conceded no more points.
Kick-off to the right-hand side is taken by De Jager, the second row. And he makes it up to the 22 line of the box.
Number one, that's enough from you.
And Hendrikse with the box kick. Liam Williams takes it superbly. And Wales have got a bit of a foothold now in South Africa territory. What can they do with this? 30 seconds to go on the clock. That's Reffel. Little dummy and a step inside. Now Will Rowlands is in the midfield. Still on the 10-metre line of South Africa, but Rowlands has lost it in the tackle, and South Africa get the ball back. As Valemse out of the back door, kick through by Dielende.
Nam's after it.
Nam is after it into the Wales 22. Josh Adams was back there shepherding him, and Am just couldn't get the fly hack with any accuracy. And it's a Wales line out.
Yeah, the 40 minutes is up for this first half, but Wales have to play this line out. Just there is Wales' ball just inside their own 22. So I'm sure they're going to try and make this as simple as possible and just put this ball straight off the field.
Yeah, just outside the Wales 22 on this near side.
Stay there, please, Africa.
17-8.
There's good defence on the turnover. Quagga Smith on for the Springboks, and he's just reefed that ball out of Will Rowlands' hands. It looked dangerous off that turnover then.
Taken by Adam Beard, safely in the middle of the line out. And this will be a rosette from Kieran Hardy. No problem for the scrum half. Referee's whistle blows. That's the end of the first half. And an enthralling first half. Wales are trailing by 17 points to 8. But Richie Rees, it's not all over by a long chalk.
No, I think there's definite the defence set in place. The times we went multi-phase in attack within 40 metres of that South African line, we were good. Discipline will be a major message going in there from Wayne Pivac at half-time, but there's definite positives to take.
Yeah, Wales been resilient. Could have been a lot worse, the amount of territory possession South Africa had. So I think Pivac will be fairly happy, expecting response in the second half.
Andre Pollard and Bongo Monambi with the tries. Pollard converted both and kicked a penalty for Wales. Tommy Reffel got his first try for his country. Dan Biggar kicked a penalty at half-time at the Cape Town Stadium. It's South Africa 17, Wales 8.
Thank you very much, gents. Ian Hunt alongside Gareth, Phil and Richie Rees. And we'll just pick up on a few more details, gents, before we let you go off for a bit of a half-time breather. Wales are going to have to be pretty perfect during the second half, aren't they, if they are to pull off a famous series win and get a first series win on South African soil, trailing as they are by 9 points. I mean, Richie, we thought it was going to be a ferocious test match, and it certainly was, wasn't it? South Africa, the pace that they started the game with.
Yeah, it's been interesting. South Africa had the first 15 minutes of momentum and probably the last 10 of that half, and it's once you've got the momentum, how do you keep it? If you haven't got it, how do you generate it? But yeah, it's been a physical battle. There hasn't been an awful lot of ball movement or shape from South Africa. They're just trying to batter the door down. They're going straight through the front door with their big runners. But Wales have had the ball offensively in attack, they've looked dangerous. I think we just got to roll the dice now this second half. There's absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Throw everything at it in the hope that they do get the win. I mean, we're tracking the sort of emotion on social media as well, Gareth, and a lot of admiration of the Tommy Reffell try and the fact that Wales, really worked the ball at speed for that. And Josh Adams as well, talked about him before the game, how key he is now for Wales, just all over the place.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and it was probably the first time we'd had ball in hand and managed to put any sort of phases together. And I just thought the dominance, the willingness to run through these Springbok defenders was right there, and I think it caught the Boks by surprise. Great inside support by Tommy Reffell, and he's been superb throughout. But I just think that those opportunities will be there, providing we could look after this ball again in the second half.
Let's check in with Ross Harris, our reporter in Cape Town, in the thick of it there, Ross. And I can only imagine how nervous those Welsh fans are now going to be feeling. What's the mood there?
Yeah, they are vastly outnumbered, Ian, as you'd expect here. The noise from the South African fans has been deafening. They waited a long time to see their Springboks, and they're seeing them at their best tonight. I mean, some of their handling has been suspect, but in terms of the close quarter stuff, the forward battle, that driving line out there is the epitome of what they do well. Wales's maul defence had been pretty robust up until then, but when they're within 5 metres, the Springboks, they are nigh on irresistible. The atmosphere is fantastic here, really febrile, and they sense now the Boks are maybe ready to step up another gear. But as the boys have just been saying, Wales have looked dangerous when they've had possession. Nick Tompkins fizzing around everywhere, so too Josh Adams. The Welsh handling has been a bit suspect, but speed of ball has been good when in possession, so this is still a game, just 17-8 as it stands.
And Ross, there's a lot of talk about the pitch. I don't know if you've seen all of that on social media as well. What's your view of that? Because it's cutting up pretty badly, isn't it? It looks like Ebbw Vale in the middle of January or something, like a Parks pitch almost.
Yeah, it's not the best, Ian. I mean, it's a glorious stadium, this. Relatively new to Test rugby. Only the Lions have played here before Wales, so it looks the real deal. Magnificent structure, but yeah, the pitch itself is cutting up really badly. I'm looking out onto it now, and there's several places you can see where the scrums have taken place, because there are huge divots, big chunks being taken out of it. It is cutting up very badly, so as a surface it is by no means ideal.
Just trying to look to see if there's any ground staff trying to get it back into some kind of decent condition for the second half. Ross, thank you very much. Ross Harris there in Cape Town then, and all of the second half drama to come here on BBC Radio Wales. You're listening via medium wave, via BBC Sounds and Radio Wales Extra, or online at the BBC Sport website. But we talked about earlier about how it had been such a fantastic day already for Northern Hemisphere rugby. So let's round up exactly what has happened today in terms of British sides and Irish sides getting victories there down under. Ireland creating history themselves by winning a series in New Zealand for the first time after a 32-22 win in the third test. It also moves Johnny Sexton's side to the top of the world rankings.
It doesn't get much better than this. By saying that, it's the biggest respect we can give New Zealand. The celebrations probably weren't, the most humble, but that shows how much it means to us to come down here. We came here with the Lions, and we thought it was great to get a draw, and the guys that felt that we should have won were criticised. So to come down here and do it, it's just very, very special, and it's a special group. Yeah, it's great to be a part of.
Well, he talked about criticism there, didn't he? There was certainly plenty of that for England after they lost their first test against Australia a fortnight ago. But what a way to respond to that. They've also secured a 2-1 series victory over Australia. Courtney Lawes' side winning the final test 21-17 in Sydney.
We stuck together, we stuck at it, and we fought for each other. We've had a great 4 weeks here. They give us a good bit of fuel in the press, to be fair. They were talking a lot of smack about us, so that motivated us a bit. But, you know, the boys just stuck together, stuck to our guns, and, you know, we didn't really fire that many shots tonight, unfortunately, but we found a way to win, and that's a big improvement, I think.
So a great day for Ireland and for England. I wonder if Scotland could also celebrate another victory this evening over Argentina. The third test decider between those two sides takes place in Santiago del Estero tonight. Lots going on this weekend as well, isn't there? There's the Open Golf up at St Andrews. None of the three Welshmen made the cut for the weekend, unfortunately, for the third round of the 150th Open. Just looking at the present state of play, Victor Hovland leading on 14 under, 2 shots clear of the overnight leader Cameron Smith. Rory McIlroy a further shot behind on 11 under alongside Cameron Young. We are just a couple of weeks away, believe it or not, from the new football season. And Swansea City, Cardiff City and Newport and Wrexham all playing pre-season friendlies today. So let's try and round up what's happening exactly. Swansea City, they were playing Bristol Rovers today in 2 60-minute matches at their Fairwood training ground. They won the first match 2-1, and then they drew the second 1-1. Liam Cullen, Cameron Congreve and Joel Pirot with the goals for the Swans. Cardiff City away to Cheltenham, and they won that by 2-1. Mark Harris with a penalty, Max Waters also scoring. Full time between Torquay and Newport, and it finished goalless. Wrexham, meanwhile, winning 5-2 away to Nantwich. Aaron Hayden, Kai Evans, Liam McAlinden, Paul Mullin, and a trialist scoring. That's all we can tell you about that, because quite often don't know who these trialists are, do you? Just tends to say that on the team sheet. Trialist, whoever he is. The Women's Euros, meanwhile, Spain will set up a quarter-final with England if they avoid defeat to Denmark later. Stage 14 of the Tour de France has just finished. Geraint Thomas remains third, losing 17 seconds to the top two today. Jonas Vingegaard keeps the yellow jersey with a 2-minute 22-second lead over the defending champion Tadej Pogačar. And finally, Wales have been playing South Africa today in hockey as well at the National Centre in Cardiff. That's part of their preparations for the Commonwealth Games. The women, they won 1-0, but the men lost 5-3. Let's go back to the rugby then, and as we get ready for the second half in Cape Town, let's hear from a now former Wales international. There was a special guest at the Wales training ground before their final test against South Africa, Jamie Roberts, who was asked to join the squad to help make up the numbers in training, just as he was about to announce his retirement from rugby. He's out there on TV duty, and he's been explaining why he's decided to call it quits now at the age of 35 after winning 94 caps for Wales.
The time is right, 35, done more in my career than I could ever have dreamed of doing, and it just feels perfect, really. You know, here in South Africa, which has been a huge important place in my career, no doubt, and I just didn't want to, I guess, go that year too far, 2 young children, get injured. You know, I feel relatively fit, quite keen to walk away from the game that way, so it's just been unreal. I'm really humbled by all the messages I've received, you know, certainly after announcing that last night. Yeah, it's been incredible.
Parker bumps into Yantis, stays on his feet, gets the pass to Jamie Roberts, and Jamie Roberts celebrates as he flies over in the corner. That's a great reply from Wales.
I've been very fortunate to be in a line of work that has given me such opportunity and allowed me to, I guess, meet some wonderful people, rub shoulders with some of the greats in the game, and just keep learning, I guess. So, you know, when you're a player, you're always looking towards the next game and next season, and always wanting to learn and expand your knowledge of the game and how you see the game and how you view the game. I've been very lucky to have seen the game through many different lenses per se, and you know, whether that's in different clubs or with representative teams, different coaches, different groups of players in different environments across the world, and you know, that's been the best thing about the game for me.
It's a charge down, the ball falls for Jamie
what I'll treasure most is being able to do it over the world, and the relationships, the relationships with some amazing people. And those, I guess that matters more than any of the stats, the human element to it. And I feel so fortunate to have been able to meet some wonderful people. The game owes me absolutely nothing. It's given me everything in my life. It's been an absolute privilege.
But what a time to announce your retirement in the middle of a test series against South Africa, when you're in South Africa as well, and training with Wales this week as well. A special week for Jamie Roberts as he hangs up his boots. And Richie Rees is with us, former Cardiff Blues teammate. Richie, we heard sort of like some snippets of commentary there of Jamie scoring tries for Wales. He's won Grand Slams with Wales. But actually, in terms of his achievements, what he did on foreign fields was pretty special, wasn't it? Because with the Lions, he was player of the series in South Africa in 2009, and then 4 years after that, he scored that try, didn't he, in the series-winning win in Australia?
Yeah, as much as I hate doing it, I'm a friend of Jamie, but he's got it all, isn't he? He's got awful looks. He can play the guitar. He's got a good voice. He's played in Paris.
As much as you hate what? Saying nice things.
He's played in Paris, London, Sydney. He's been all over and he's done nearly everything. But he's, as you say, Lions Player of the Series. He's been to a couple of World Cups. He's played 350 games of professional rugby, and ultimately, I think a big thing for me, he's takes away memories, doesn't he? And he's a deep old soul, James, and that's what he will treasure.
Great bloke off the field as well. I've done lots of rugby forums with him. Fabulous company off the field. And the other thing about Jamie Roberts, I don't think we saw everything that he was capable of on the field. When he started, Richie, he was a fullback, wasn't he? He's a really good footballing ball player, and of course Warren Gatland used him as the battering ram, get over that gain line, that was so important to the Wales game plan. But he was a really, really good footballer.
Yeah, Phil made a good point. I'll never forget. So that game, his first game for Cardiff Blues, Cardiff Rugby. We are now. We played the Dragons away over in Rodney Parade. Cut me short if I'm going over here. But he's Nicky Robinson's a crossfield kick to him. He's collected on the halfway line, and there's no one in front of him. He's playing 15 at the time, and he's got his hand in the air celebrating his try, probably 30 metres out. I'll never forget the review on the Monday morning. Di pulled him in front of everyone and said, "You ever do that again, you're not playing for Cardiff Blues." But he ran out. He probably didn't have the wheels of the pace moving forward to play 15. But I think Phil's right. He did have a skill set on him, Jamie. He could pass under pressure. His depth management was good, but he was used as he's a big physical man, and he was the bulldozer. He was the best 12 in the world for a couple of years, wasn't he? And let's not even mention he's a qualified doctor. So the man does have it all. He's worked hard for it.
Yeah, he always craved those 6 more caps, didn't he, at least, to try and reach the century with Wales, Gareth. But kind of fell out of fashion a little bit, didn't he, under Warren Gatland? He got associated with that kind of Warren ball approach, which was quite sort of derogatory sort of way of referring to how Wales played under Gatland.
Yeah, he did. So if I remember the Australia game, I think it was 2017, and he got moved out. There was this talk about going to a second ball player, and apparently fell out of vogue. But it's like saying, all those caps, he's got about 5 or 6 degrees on the mantelpiece as well. And I think one of the best things you can say is, as Phil alluded to, there's been very little change from seeing him as a sort of 20, 21-year-old in that Welsh squad coming in as a youngster. Very much the same bloke, and a real sort of credit to himself and his family.
Working for TV out in Cape Town, where it is now pretty dark as Wales prepare for a second half where they've got to come back from behind, trailing by 9 points, to try to win a series in South Africa for the very first time. What are we going to get from the second half, gents? What's the approach? I think you were saying just throw everything at it now, Richie. They've just got to go for broke.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing to lose. I think it'll depend if those 15 that left the field at half-time will come back on, because you can guarantee you get to the 50-55 minute mark in this game now. Bodies will start failing, but roll the dice, absolutely nothing to lose. Let's go for the win. We're not going to do that by getting 3 points after 3 points.
Yeah, we talked about discipline as well before the game, Gareth, didn't we? It's been a problem throughout the tour. It's been a problem again. I mean, how many penalties was it? What we were up to? 8, 9, 10 penalties, was it, conceded?
Yeah, I think it was about sort of 10 to about 2. So it's the difference between the two teams and just how heavily penalised we've been at the set piece. Let's just piggyback the Springboks down the field.
We are still a little bit unclear what happened with Taulupe Faletau, why he had to pull out moments before kick-off. Josh Navidi coming in. How do you feel that the pack have done without his considerable presence in that back row?
I think they've stood up well, and I think Wales have had a lack of set piece, so at the scrum it hasn't been tested so much. I've actually had a penalty off the one and only scrum. That's where I thought Josh might struggle. He doesn't spend as much time at 8 as Taulupe in dealing with that ball when it's struggling. But I think they've coped well so far. Needs a big 40 minutes now.
Didn't even see those teams come out, did we? Here we go then. Second half commentary on BBC Radio Wales with Richie, Gareth and Phil Steele.
Thank you very much, Ian, as Dan Biggar kicks off. Wales playing from left to right. I'm just noticing that Dewi Lake is on for Wales, the hooker, replacing Ryan Elias. And also Sam Wainwright is on for his second cap. Krill RFC's finest. And Wales get an early penalty in the second half, kickable as well, right on the 22. So this could be an excellent start for Wales. 17 points to 8 they trail, 2 tries to 1. And Biggar is going to kick for goal, I think. Yes, he is. So it's a real bonus at the start of the second half for Wales.
Yeah, 47 minutes in. I think it's the penalty is gone. Is it the replacement hooker? Yes, it is. Dewi Lake not long on the field. He's shown clear release and got the jackal. And Wales now have an opportunity to get 3 points just a minute into the second half on the 15-metre line.
Gareth, you surprised at those two quite early substitutions in the front row? Of course, we don't know if there was an issue or injury issue with their replacements.
Yeah, well, I think Elias obviously had that big headbang with Dan Lydiot earlier on in the game. Obviously, Dan hasn't returned, so whether there was any remnants of that, but also Dewi Lake there showing how good a player he is. You know, real threat at the breakdown on the jackal, and he's turned into a bit of a try-scoring extraordinaire as well off the back of them all. So, you know, I think maybe give him 40 minutes to have a real crack at these Springboks.
Biggar makes no mistake with the penalty, and it's South Africa 17, Wales 11. Wales back within a converted try.
It's a big 40 minutes for Sam Wainwright on for Dylan Lewis, obviously with the injury issues Dylan Lewis has had. But Sam Wainwright, if he plays this 40 minutes, he would have played more minutes for Wales for his country than he has for Saracens over the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's a heck of a start. That came through RGC, of course, in North Wales, and as I just said, a product of Krill RFC, and I bet they're delighted if they're watching this in their clubhouse. Well done to Krill RFC. As Hardy's kick just finds a basic touch over on that far left-hand side, about 10 metres from the Wales 22.
Yeah, an area, you know, is a good restart, good exit there from Wales. Probably would have liked a bit more distance. But the real area of dominance I think the Springboks have had today has been in the aerial battle, you know, which is strange with the likes of Liam Williams and Dan Biggar. But that's really given the Springboks a lot of territory, a lot of possession off the kick chase and off restarts. So something the Wales need to tighten up to get back into this game.
Espeth takes the line out. Syed Khaleesi, the captain.
Quagga Smith on the carry, just on the field.
Yeah, as the Springboks go down that right-hand side, and here's a chance for Am. It looked forward to me, but he's over the line. Referee has signalled the try. But for my money, that looked forward.
It's definitely worth checking, but it's a set-piece play. It's Quagga Smith, who's just come off the field. He's had the big dent in midfield, but if you look who's just standing on that far edge, who gets the ball, who makes the try-scoring pass, it's the scrum half. It's a scrum half for South Africa, Jaden Hendrikse. He's standing on that wing, so it's a set play, and he just goes and throws effectively a miss 2 inside to Am. It's definitely gone forward in my eyes, but I'm not sure if it's being checked.
Well, your referee, I think, is going to have a look now. It was a nicely crafted try in inverted commas, but that pass to Am definitely was forward. Well finished by the centre.
I can confirm the player is not in touch, so it's just the pass.
So they are checking the pass.
Straight away, we all looked at each other here in the studio.
Okay, for us, we believe his hands are pushing the ball forward.
Yeah, almost a basketball layup pass that.
And it's going to be no try.
Yep, and the mark is 15 metres out on the 5-metre line.
There we are, that's from the horse's mouth. No try, a let off for Wales. The crowd not very happy with that. A couple on the big screen there, we're just seeing.
But that's where Wales have to be careful. They've been good defensively during multi-phase, but South Africa now, very inventive play off first phase start with the first line out of that second half for them. But Wales now with a scrum just 10 metres from their own try line, just need to be accurate, nice and clean. and get that ball 40, 50 metres upfield.
Yeah, the first scrum for Sam Wainwright, of course.
Patience on the red ball. Let's go.
And for Dewi Lake. Dewi Lake, 110 kilograms. Was a gymnast, junior gymnast for Wales and Great Britain as well, Dewi Lake. Making his 8th appearance for Wales today. And this is a big scrum. Wales won't want to concede just after clawing back at the South African lead. 17-11 they trail. This scrum is about 5 or 6 metres from that far left touchline. Hardy to feed. And the scrum has gone down, but and Wales get the penalty.
Well done, Sam Wainwright. First scrum of the second half. And he's won the penalty against Trevor Nkani.
And Nkani, or rather Franz Malerba, the tight end, didn't like it. Slight disagreement. Once again, we can see the pitch. It's like a Horse of the Year show, isn't it? There. But Wales will take the penalty all day. And a chance for Dan Biggar to exit up that left-hand touchline. Which he does.
Yeah, really positive here. Wainwright, his shape is outstanding. He holds on. It's Trevor Nkani who's sort of just given way. He sort of slid under. Obviously, early in the game, we saw Dylan Lewis have a little bit of trouble with the pitch giving way and falling off that sort of collision there. But hopefully, a sign of things to come.
And here comes the first of the bomb squad, as they're known. Vincent Stephen Kitsoff is on for his 61st cap.
The trio. They've one scrum penalty, and they've all gone. So
they have. They brought them all on. Yeah. So this will be a big telling part of the game now for Wales, as they get a free kick for jumping across the line out to Wales. So Dan Biggar, a chance to put up a bomb, a spiral bomb. It's taken, well, half taken by Willie le Roux. He spills it in the end, but at least it's back on the South African side, although Wales counter-ruck brilliantly, and Hardy has it, going to the left-hand side, cut-out pass, finds Josh Adams with a little bit of space on the left-hand side. Adams trying to get outside his man, manages to stay in field, back to Gareth Thomas. Wales on the front foot in the Springboks 22. Hardy once more to Wainwright. Still playing advantage to Wales. Dewi Lake takes it on. This is good from Wales. Hardy, Biggar with a little flash and dash back inside the strength and into the Springbok 22. Alun Wyn Jones with a little one-handed flip pass. We will come back though for the Wales penalty. And you have to say, in this opening 6 minutes, Wales, you said, Richie, throw the kitchen sink at it, give it everything, and they're certainly having a go at that.
Yeah, and South Africans in discipline has allowed them to do that. Referee Matthew Carley has definitely made a few dubious decisions for the opening 46 minutes of this game. But Siya Kolisi, the skipper of South Africa, will definitely be having a word with his players. But Dan Biggar, Alun Wyn Jones having a slight conversation, probably 30 metres right in front of the post. Neil Jenkins is on with a tee, and most definitely you'd back your mortgage on Dan Biggar getting this.
So 17-11 the score. This to bring it within a try of South Africa. So Wales just hanging on in there. The resilience that we talked about in the first half. There was a hallmark of the Warren Gatland era, of course. And Wales over the last 2 tests certainly have seemed to have found a bit more of it, as Biggar chips it up into the evening air in Cape Town. No problem at all with that one. It's South Africa 17, Wales 14. And we played 48 minutes.
Key element here again, restart. Just need to make sure a nice clean take and connects it well.
Pollard kicks deep down into the Welsh 22. Navidi is good enough under it though, takes it with the characteristic two-hand take that he likes, and he goes to ground. Will Rowlands just forming the caterpillar, and Hardy sticks it up into the evening sky. taken by Willie LaRue, does well to beat his man down that narrow side, and LaRue kicks ahead, left-footed, across comes Liam Williams to save the day with a beautiful fall, and gets to his feet and sets Wales with a defensive maul. Brilliant work by Liam Williams, in like a goalkeeper there, slid in the path of Willie LaRue, and was able to get to his feet as well. And Wales are back where they started, with a maul, or a ruck rather, in their own 22. And Hardy, kick charge down by Etzebeth. Bigger has to bail Wales out, gets it to Tompkins on his own line, and Tompkins whacks it clear, but only as far as LaRue. Tuam, South Africa back on the offensive into the Wales 22, centre field. It was that charge down by Etzebeth that did it. Dutoy on the wide outside, back inside to Diayendi. And it's all hands to the pump again for Wales. 17-14 they trail. 10 minutes of the second half gone. Etzebeth, the man who got them on the front foot with the charge down, in the van again. Malcolm Marks, the hooker, now to the right hand side they go. Pollard inside pass to Vincent Koch. They're 5 metres short now.
Oh, it's got to be a yellow card unless he's played his arm.
Hendricks had his pass impeded. Referees let it go though, and Wales get possession. Tompkins across to Josh Adams. Maybe better exit in there with Tompkins, and he's put Adams in the creme over on that far side. And South Africa's counter-rucking, and they get the penalty to South Africa. And Wales just a little bit panicky in defence for the first time in the match, Richie Rees.
They've gone 2 phases too far there. Wales, they're 10 metres from their own line. They're trying to play out, and it's Pieter-Steph du Toit, the ex-World Player of the Year, in over the ball. But Matthew Carley again, I just do not think he's been great in the opening 50 minutes of this game. Khaleesi, the skipper for South Africa, is asking him the question, but it just looked awkward from Will Rowlands.
And he's on his feet, you've lifted the ball.
It's Matthew Carley. Anyway, we're coming back for the Springbok penalty. It's kickable, but it's pretty wide out.
And the TMO said it's not compelling, that it's wrong.
Oh, he's hit the ball out of his hand.
I think he's hit the. Has he hit the wrist?
Oh,
Carley seems adamant, doesn't he? I think, like you say, that's a definite yellow card. Otherwise,
so Wales getting away with one there, although they do concede a penalty. They did concede the penalty eventually. We've got a water break at the moment. The water carries on. It's pretty mild in Cape Town.
Yeah, the whole South Africa pressure started through great work from Eddie Etzebeth on his 100th cap. They forced Wales into a scramble, trying to scramble exit then. And that's how South Africa got this penalty, 7-8 metres from that Welsh line on the far 5 metre line.
Yeah, and I don't think Josh Adams will be thanking Nick Tompkins for a bit of a paramedics pass. That wasn't in his own 22.
Yeah, go for it.
I was looking at a stat yesterday of Etzebeth on his 100th cap. So there's been 114 tests, and he's played in 100 of them. So it's not bad consistency for such a big guy, is it?
Tackle!
yeah, such a physical position. You know, the fact he's had to take on the mantle of Botha and Matfield.
Yes, robust, his durability. I think it's outstanding, and you know, you're starting to see his worth now. He's still only 30 years of age.
Yeah, this is his 9th game against Wales, and he's only lost 3 of them. And 2 of the wins have been in Rugby World Cups. In fact, Wales, of course, have lost to South Africa in all 3 of the last Rugby World Cups, haven't they?
I didn't know that, Philip. This one for me.
And Iraq on. We're just watching Damien Valenza having some treatment. He's jogged back into position. Now, what will Pollard do here? It's kickable, yeah, but I think he's going down the line.
Yeah, think of the last try that they scored in Bombay on his 50th cap. Live driving line-out penalty. They went to the corner, exact same scenario, just the other side of the field. They've got a fresh new front row on of South Africa. Let's have a look.
Full line-out for South Africa. Malcolm Marks, one of the bomb squad, to throw, taken.
Advantage already, taking a jumper out early in the air.
Yeah, Diaka was the man. And here comes that Springbok drive. Well, did it go forward from Marks? Yes, it did, says the referee.
We'll go back for the penalty, though.
We will, yeah, indeed. Penalty for taking the jumper out.
Early contact in the air.
Well, that looked a pretty useful rolling maul by South Africa.
Yeah. If anything, Marks came out, probably a little bit too early. They didn't have the patience that Mbombe showed in the earlier try.
Next one's in the bin.
Final warning now, from Matt Carley.
The 5th final warning from Matt Carley today.
Well, it's another 5-metre line out. So it's as you were, Malcolm Marks, full line out again. That's your man Diacha taking it in the middle, and Marks now just sets himself at the back. The line out, the maul just crabbing over to the right-hand side, and Hendrikse goes in and gives a bit of a help, and now Hendrikse moves it to Damien Valemse. Now they're centre field, still 5 metres short. Dutoy, the back row, says all hands to the pump again for Wales in defence. 17-14 they trail. Hendrikse to Khaleesi, the captain, crabbing over to this left-hand side. Hendrikse to Pollard. Pollard with a little show and go, just taken down by Alun Wyn Jones, almost on the Wales line. Quick ball will be handy for South Africa. Hendrikse to Kitshoff. Inside the 5-metre mark. Hendrikse once more to the Khaleesi. Khaleesi powering for the line, and the try is awarded. The power play of South Africa again was too much for Wales, and it's Khaleesi with his country's 3rd of the afternoon.
Yeah, it's just a power game again. Absolutely no ball movement in the pods. So the initial driving line out from 5 metres out didn't work, so they just went forward carry. Pollard challenged the line on the far edge, and then it was just 2 carries late. There was Kitshoff from probably 1 metre out, and then Siya Khaleesi he had Luke de Jager just outside him, and with a little bit of extra weight goes through Nick Tompkins with the help of Luke de Jager and Vincent Koch, and he's over the try line. His 3rd try for South Africa, and just into the 53rd minute of the second half.
Yeah, it's a tough ask there for Wales on the line, but just I wondered on that set there just whether Tompkins and Biggar would seem to be just behind the line instead of setting that line, whereas Tompkins could set inside. That level of width, he was always an easy target for Khaleesi, and he's a big man to stop a few metres out.
Here's Pollard from virtually adjacent to the posts. He's put over 3 from 3 so far and scored a try as well. And this to improve the try by the captain, Siya Khaleesi. No problem for Pollard. So he played 54 minutes, 24-14 Wales trail. It's a 10-point game.
Yeah, you look at the bench now for Wales, right? Who can make an impact? I think Thomas Williams is already on in that previous set of phase of play, so he's already on. Navidi obviously started the game. Alun Wyn Jones is on. Dewi Lake's on. So if you're looking from a back, you've got Rhys Patchell, who hasn't played an awful lot of rugby in the last 18 months. Owen Watkin, who maybe could be a decent option, as I think we just see Tane Basham entering the field for Tommy Reffell, but give that man credit. Tommy Reffell, again, he's been industrious today. He's been all over that ball.
Yeah, Wyn Watkins on for Nick Tompkins. So reshuffling by Wales going on. South Africa take the kick-off. 24-14 on Radio Wales Sport. I suppose there's 2 ways of looking at this now, Gareth. You can say, it could be a long 24 minutes for Wales, 25 minutes for Wales, or there's still enough time for Wales to get right back in it.
Yeah, definitely. I think, just one try and we've shown we're capable of scoring against a Springbok team. It takes us right back into the hunt and makes it nervy for the Springboks. But again, the area we're letting ourselves down is our restarts. Every time we score points, we don't get out of our own half, then we don't get any control to sort of put that pressure back onto the Springboks, and that's got to change.
Yeah, as Richie Rees was saying, Tane Basham, the Talouane Terror, is on in the back row for Wales, as the line out is not straight from Dewi Lake. So the Springboks will get the option of the scrum or the line out. They take the scrum. So Wales will, well, for the next 10 minutes, Richie, what's the game plan for Wales now? Let's just say the next 10-15.
Yeah, I think they probably just need to take a bit of sting out of it. South Africa have made a lot of subs already. If I was that South African coaching staff, I'd definitely look to get Faf to Clerc on. The only issue with that is they went for a 6-2 split on the bench, and obviously Willie le Roux was on early. as a replacement, so he's your last back on, but they need to take the sting out of the South African attack. They don't want any broken field play, really, so they've got to manage their kicking game. So Thomas Williams and Dan Biggar come in, but at some point, the 24 points to 14 down, we also have to roll the dice. So manage this next probably 6 to 10 minutes, and then if not, we'll have to look to play. Be positive. But let's see how this next 5 minutes plays out.
Wyn Jones is on for his 45th cap. The Test Lion, as the scrum is reset. Only the second time that Wales have played in Cape Town, this one. Last played in 2002, they lost 19-8. Colin Chavez try and a Stephen Jones penalty, that's how long ago that was. Remember, Wales have never won a Test series in South Africa in the men's game. So here's the scrum again, it's just outside the Springboks 22. Hendrikse has remained on. Penalty coming for South Africa. Hendrikse burrowing into the scrum for the ball. Cross kick looking for Mapimpi. Rhys Samit does well though to get hold of the ball in the air. We're coming back for the penalty though. And just get the feeling the game has going into a little bit of a fallow patch. I suppose, Gareth, possession is the most important thing for Wales. First up now, just trying to get
possession, and it's getting away from these set pieces without giving away penalties as well, Phil, which is going to be tough. Again, it's part of the reshuffle. Will Rowland's packing down at 8 at that scrum there, so Navidi can cover the blind side in defence, but I doubt he'll have practiced much there, and that launch you get from the number 8 into the scrum is often so important to get the nudge on in the initial push. But it seems each time it's going to sort of scrum time, it's a penalty, and it's just giving away easy field possession.
Talking of penalties, just coming up on screens, 12 penalties now that have gone against Wales. It's just the 7 against South Africa.
Line out on the Wales 10-metre line taken by the 100 cap man, Eben Etzebeth. Marks is at the back. Maul just crabbing forward, and Hendrikse pulls it away from there and tries to get his back division moving. Hendrikse again, that's lovely and quick. Pollard, Leroux to Mapimpi out on this left side, but he's expertly shepherded into touch by a combination of George North and Louis Rhys Samit, and Wales will get the line out.
Yeah, great defence there by George North. You actually could see Willie Leroux inside Mapimpi calling for him to put that kick through, and it's something that the Springboks don't want to play phase. They don't really want to go through it when they're more than sort of 5-10 metres from the try line. They're happy to put that kick through, challenge the Welsh ball on set piece, or potentially make them have to play out and kick the ball back off the box.
This line-out needs to be as simple as possible now. So many changes in our Welsh pack. Good ball.
Yeah, taken by Adam Beard in the middle. Dewi Lake getting his darts right on that occasion. And Wales getting a bit of a drive going as well. Tane Basham's in the van of that one, and Wales get a penalty advantage coming. And here's Thomas Williams making it up to halfway. Better from Wales. Adam Beard is the emergency scrum half. Owen Watkin. Referee blows for the penalty to Wales. And a chance to get some much needed territory.
Yeah, penalty's gone against Quagga Smith for bringing that driving line out down from Wales. It was nice clean shape from Wales in the air though. Dewi Lake's got his darts, got his throw spot on. Adam Beard's taking it, and they've had a bit of success over the 3 games of Wales going to a bit of a driving line out. So it wouldn't surprise me Dan Biggar gets this just in between the 22 and the 10-metre line for Wales, and they'll go straight back to their strength.
Does he makes it exactly to the South African 10-metre line. We played an hour at the Cape Town Stadium. South Africa 24, Wales 14 on Radio Wales Sport. Can Wales overturn this 10-point lead in the final quarter to make history? They made history last week. Can they make even greater history this week with a first ever series win in South Africa in the men's game? There's the Centurion just coming off, Eben Etzebeth.
Yeah, Mostert coming on for him. Doesn't have that physical presence as much as Etspeth has, but he's very mobile, can play at 6 as well.
Wales moving the ball behind very well. Lovely pass from Liam Williams, found Josh Adams in some space on that left-hand side, just on the Springboks 10-metre line. Bigger on the wraparound from Dowie Lake. Put down, and Wales again can concede a penalty at that breakdown.
Yes, unfortunate for Wales. It's gone against Sam Wainwright going in at the side of the contact, but it was good from Wales. We played to width nice and early off the start play. Josh Adams using his dance's feet, beating 3 or 4 defenders, but it's just a cheap, lazy side entry from Sam Wainwright. And unfortunately for Wales, it gives South Africa the opportunity to get back just to where they want to go, probably 30 metres out from that Wales line.
Is that sort of discipline there, Gareth, or is that just a reflex action from Wainwright, that he just happened to find himself there, there's the ball, and he goes for it?
I'd say it's a bit of both, Phil. It is difficult for him, but he's got to work hard to get round the corner. He's done it right under Matthew Carley's nose, and it's a penalty that wasn't needed. There were plenty of Welsh players around that ball. That's when you've got to have a sort of cool head. And I think that's what we've sort of lacked a little bit. Every time we have gone multi-phase, we've looked very dangerous, but a couple of little sort of cat flap offloads and things like that. I think every time there's actual collision zone, we're winning the gain line, which is rare against South Africa. But we haven't stayed in that. We've given easy outs.
24-14. Wales trail South Africa in the third and final test, as we just watching Dan Biggar having a bit of treatment, as if he's got a wrist problem. He seems to be up and okay now. And South Africa, in the form of Pollard, take play down to the Wales 22 from that penalty. Six-man line for the box, taken by De Jager. Hendrikse Willemse was first receiver, and here's Lucanio Am. They're in the Wales 22. Kitshoff of the bomb squad. Hendrikse again, and all the South African forwards are offering themselves for the carry now. Elrich Low, the latest one. Mostert.
Good tackle there, got under Motset, the replacement second row. Won the collision.
Still back on the South African side though, du Toit. Hendrikse said it's really quick ball now for South Africa every time they go to ground. Marks. Hendrikse once more. Vincent Koch. Over to that right-hand side. Pollard with a little show and go. And attentive chip through, didn't get him very far, and Wales are able to get possession back.
Terrible decision by Pollard. He's just got to hold the ball at 6 metres from the Welsh try line. He's given Wales the ball back. Wales now have to manufacture this exit. The replacement 9 is on the floor, Thomas Williams.
Yeah, Liam Williams is doing the 9-bit. Now Thomas Williams is up and about and is able to put his foot on the ball. And he's going to hoist it right-footed down that left tram line. LaRue. Good tackle again by Dowie Lake, pins LaRue on the Wales 10-metre line. Still South Africa have it though. And it's platinum plated possession for the box at the moment as Willie LaRue goes aerial this time, taken by Willemse on this left-hand touchline. He's shepherded into touch though by Liam Williams and George North, and Wales should get the line out.
Yeah, the Springboks back three have been superb in the air today. Winning a lot of those aerial battles, and Liam Williams, Dan Biggar have found themselves back there. They're usually so good under that high ball, but the Springboks have been fantastic.
Have another water break. 110 tackles for Wales to 63 for South Africa, which tells you quite a bit, Richie.
Yeah, so on average you're looking to make probably about 120 tackles a game. There's still 15 minutes left to go in this game, so ultimately it will take its toll. But just go back to South Africa. I think obviously everybody knows what they can do with their kicking game and stuff. I'm just not overly impressed by what they're offering in attack at the minute. There's not a lot of multi-phase, double-layered options to play to, and with the strike runners that they've got, you'd think they'd look to use them a bit more. But Wales are stifling and they're winning those tighter collisions around the contact area, and it's knocking their timing off. You've seen it a few times. Some of South Africa's runners are in front of the play, so they've got to go behind that. And we're just looking at and screen Faf de Klerk, and what they paid to get him on the field at the minute. But I just don't think they can risk it. We're still with 15 minutes left.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Rich. And I think it's going to leave that debate open again about whether Elton Jantjies or Andre Pollard are the go-to man at 10. I think Jantjies wasn't at his best in that first test, but Pollard here, he's been clinical with his kicking game and obviously going for goal, but he hasn't got this backline firing, and they've had plenty of possession.
24-14 it remains. Reminder that 17 of the 23 on duty for the Springboks today played some part in the Rugby World Cup final, the 32-12 win over England in 2019, as Wales take the line out and get a free kick as well on their own 22. And Biggar won't be able to kick directly for touch.
We were very lucky there.
Spiral bomb him coming, I think. Yeah.
There you go. Big mix-up at the front of that line out, I think, with so many people out of position in the Welsh pack.
Great take, Willie le Roux.
Yeah, he does well with the spiral bomb, takes the ball on the halfway line.
As we see the man we've just talked about, Faf de Klerk. There'll be a bit of tempo, but he's shaping to go straight back to the air through a box kick on the halfway line.
Yeah, there he is, left-footed, Faf de Klerk, down towards the Welsh 22. Dan Biggar, who else is under it? Pushed back heavily in the tackle, well into his 22, but he presents the ball immaculately and gives Thomas Williams a chance. Instead, Williams uses Alun Wyn Jones to set up another ruck.
So as Wales kick this, the policy, I think, is as the kicker stays in the backfield. So if Thomas Williams kicks this, don't expect one phase back again from South Africa to go back on top of Thomas Williams in that backfield.
Yeah, Williams drills it up high, and that's a pretty decent touch finder, actually. Right on the halfway line.
Yeah, it's a good kick, and I think, probably a better option, actually, to get that ball off. Take on these Springboks off a set defence. A couple of the kicks maybe a little bit too long, and has allowed Willie le Roux to bring the ball back.
Wales have 14 minutes to go to try and salvage this game and make history. 24-14 they trail on Radio Wales Sport. Malcolm Marx to throw into the line out. A bit of synchronised swimming at the front by South Africa, but it goes to that man again. De Jager in the middle. And they set it. Well, it's not pretty, but it's pretty effective by South Africa. Marx at the back. Now comes Francois de Klerk. Faf de Klerk. High again. Zammit tried to get under it though, but he couldn't, and it's back on the South African side. De Klerk. Pollard drills it right-footed. Liam Williams scooting across and does well brilliantly to step inside Damien Valenza, who'd followed up that kick. Great play by Liam Williams. It's only as far as Pollard though, and there's Willie le Roux down that right-hand side. Liam Williams again back in the Welsh 22. Sends it out, spin pass fashion to Biggar, to George North. Might be something on for Wales here. Lovely hands. Finds Thomas Williams finds Louis Rees-Zammit, who steps inside a couple of tackles and makes it over the 10-metre line. Penalty coming for Wales. Remember, it's still only a 10-point game, and there's still 13 minutes to go. 24-14 Wales trail. Biggar going left. Will Rowlands put down on the 10-metre line. Thomas Williams sniping to the left-hand side. Referee going to bring it back though for the Wales penalty.
Number 12, you went the wrong way.
So Thomas Williams been lively, pretty lively since he's come on.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a perfect game for Thomas to come on. He loves an unstructured and broken field defence, and that's what Wales are doing. They're trying to play out their 22 at the minute, with Rees-Zammit staying on his feet well, working back infield. But I've been impressed with Wales' physicality today. I think they've won a lot of collisions around this park. It's something that you don't often say against the South Africans. So Bobby Strigeon and Hugh Bennett and the rest of that Wales S&C staff can definitely take a tap on the back for that after the end of a long season.
Terrific banana kick by Biggar from no angle at all. Takes play down well into the South African 22. Gareth, we've got the water carriers on. Comment about Wales' physicality.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. We've looked after the ball. We're breaking the gain line with most carries, and that's why you just want us to go through that multi-phase. I think even the fact that South Africa are employing a really hard umbrella defence where they're trying to shut us down from getting to the wide areas, that's a little bit out of the fear of the likes of George North, Rhys Zammit, you know, getting on the ball in those wide areas and really punishing the Springboks.
12 minutes to go. It was 1964 that Wales first played in South Africa. That was in Durban. 24-3 they lost. That was a bit of a hammering when the three-point try. Clive Rowlands was captain. Wales first one, of course, in South Africa last week. We still await our first series win. Can we get it? We've got 12 minutes to go, and this Wales maul is going well from the line out in the South Africa 22 as Dewi Lake drives in, and Wales with a penalty advantage coming. Thomas Williams, little kick through, looking for Basham. And I was just hesitating for a moment. It looked as if Basham might have been just impeded in his chase for the ball.
Penalty's gone against Quagga Smith again. Oh, sorry, Franco. Montserrat, replacement second row. Side entry at the driving lineup. There's a good opportunity for Wales now. Still 11 minutes left on the clock. Straight back to the corner. I expect again Wales going first choice. Going to the drive, having success with it again.
So 11 minutes to go. 10 points Wales trail, 24-14. But they've got this line out on 5 metres. Basham made a few good hard yards in the last one. So is that a sting in this Welsh performance yet? Beard though just overthrown slightly by Dewi Lake, and it brushed Beard's hands and he couldn't control it, and Kolisi comes away with it for South Africa. A chance gone for Wales, but they're still in South Africa's 22.
Okay, that's advantage over for the knock-on. 4 not now.
De Klerk, and you would think that South Africa will put it pretty much up the jumper, the tank top and the string vest. Now Richie for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I just think, look, it was Wales line out just inside the South African half. So we've got to strike the score off this line out. We've tried to play quickly, but the referee, Matthew Carley, has pulled it back. But a decent collision from Owen Watkin on Siya Kolisi. 2 big men going at it, but we've got to roll the dice. It's 10 minutes. Let's strike the score from this start of play. Don't worry about driving. Don't worry about going to 21 play. Let's just have a look. Strike to width. Go multi-phase. Let's have a crack.
The Wales have the line out in between the halfway line and the South African 10-metre line. Dewi Lake. That's a Billy Basic to the front. Will Rowlands takes it. Out from Navidi. Bigger in the outside centre position. Liam Williams to Josh Adams, who's got outside his man. Adams heading into the 22. Oh. Just put down. And he's a little bit isolated. Thomas Williams was the first one there, and South Africa have burgled it.
What a turnover, Quagga Smith. Great line break from Josh Adams. Good start to play from Wales. But what a turnover from Quagga Smith. He's got him out of a load of trouble there.
And Faf de Klerk kicks left-footed. And South Africa, you can see by the way Faf de Klerk just belted that one into the crowd that they were pleased to get away with that. It was almost as if, Gareth, that Josh Adams had done almost too well and got away from his
Rhys Zammit was working hard on the inside. I just wonder whether they're going to have a look at that tackle. I think Adams managed to protect his own face, but Mapimpi coming in from his other wing did exceptionally well to be there. But it did seem to be quite a high shot.
Wales have got the line out, 10 metres outside the 22. Alan Wynne-Jones takes it at the front. Bit of a drive from Wales. Dewi Lake is scragged, or gives a lovely one out of the cat flap to Thomas Williams. Williams makes a break down that left-hand side, up towards the 22. Gets it inside to Taine Basham, but Basham just knocked on. And Lucanio Am managed to come away with it for South Africa.
Thomas Williams shot down the short side, but the work off the ball from Wynne-Jones to block Faf de Klerk. Faf de Klerk ends up on the floor. No one picked it up, but it's good from Thomas Williams. That's what he brings you. Pace, tempo, that unknowing. No one knows what he does. I think even Tom knows what he's going to do next. So it's exactly what Wales need at the minute. 7 minutes to go, 24-14.
Well, you certainly cannot fault Wales's effort, determination and sheer bloody mindedness in this final quarter. You might have expected South Africa with the bomb squad coming on, and Wales a bit depleted with Taulagi Faletau dropping out just before the start, but they've certainly, Gareth Delve, really showed some resilience.
Oh, it's been fantastic, both the rearguard action, some of the defending they've gone through and the hits they've been making, but There have been some really positive signs when we've had the ball in attack. We've gone through the phases and just that willingness to challenge the Springboks at the gain line.
But it still remains 24-14 to South Africa on Radio Wales Sport.
Okay, we'll come across.
Just under 7 minutes to go.
That's the thing, there's still time. You know, obviously that clock is ticking, 7 minutes to go. But with the likes of Reece Zammit, Josh Adams on the pitch, you know, we have got a team now we can go from 50, 60 metres, putting those guys into space. So it's a case of not panicking, just making sure these set pieces force the Springboks to exit, but get the ball back. Don't give away penalties.
Wales deficient in possession, 43% to 57%, and deficient in territory as well, 34% to 66%. So South Africa have dominated territory and had the better possession as well. But Wales are still just 10 points behind. But they are encamped on the South African 22 as Faf de Klerk goes burrowing for it and finds Stephen Kitsoff. Penalty coming to South Africa.
It's a cheap penalty advantage going against Wales. Offside in midfield when South Africa trying to manage an exit.
De Klerk to Pollard. Now referee blows. And if you had to sum it up, Gareth, that has been a big difference from the sides, the penalty count, particularly at breakdown.
It has been, Phil, yeah, and again, it's another pointless one, really. I think, you know, just a clean tackle there. Springboks try and get back to the 15 so they can box again and give us the ball back, but instead they're going to have, you know, a pressure-free penalty. And we've done that a number of times today, piggyback them down the pitch, whether it be a scrum penalty or sliding up the side of the maul. These are the sort of penalties that just kill your momentum and take you out of games.
Pollard finds touch in the Welsh half. And now you would have to say it's going to be a struggle for Wales to score twice. Converted try and a penalty or a drop kick would bring the scores level. So they need 2 tries really to get the win from here. Marks finds Du Toit on the Wales 10-metre line. And here we go with the Springbok signature play, the driving maul, and yet another penalty as Marks makes another 5 or 6 metres by breaking off the maul. The centre to Kitsoff. Faf de Klerk spins to the right-hand side, might be something on there. There's Marks, dummy from the hooker. And a Maori sidestep taking him into the 22 of Wales. Du Toit on hand. That's nice and quick for de Klerk as well this time. Still the penalty coming. De Klerk, Malcolm Marks, he's been in everything since he's come on. The hooker.
5th carry in probably the same phase of play.
De Klerk scragged by Biggar. Lukhanyo Am goes to the right-hand side. Flips it out of the cat flap, and it's picked up by George North, who had 70 metres to go, but the referees were still gone. They were always playing the advantage anyway.
I think there's about 4 advantages on the bounce there going against Wales. It's the tempo that de Klerk brings from that driving line. He shot up the short side with Malcolm Marks. Malcolm Marks through the windmill dummy, went straight into Thomas Williams, and I think it was 3 penalties straight on the bounce after that advantage. I'm sure Matthew Carley, the referee, is going to have a chat with Wales, chat with Dan Biggar.
Kick and goal for South Africa. So this will put them, well, with 3 minutes to go, just about out of sight, you can say now.
Yeah, so it stems from 2 really unnecessary penalties. Initially, Wainwright not getting back on side and making a simple tackle on the box sort of 22, and then the maul had been stopped for the Springboks. It's no longer a threat. Players sliding up the side and changing bind. So I think, well, there'll be a huge number of positives coming out of this game. It's also, you know, a massive area to improve, probably a area to improve quite quickly, is just cut out these daft penalties.
Andre Pollard, 100% record so far. Oh, I lie, because he missed the Sia Khaleesi conversion, didn't he? So there we are. That's 4 from 5 for Pollard, and it takes South Africa to 27 points to 14.
For the kick-off now, Wales have got to look to go kick this to compete, go short, look, try and get it back, and let's just go. We've got 2 minutes to play. 2 minutes to play of a lot of these boys' seasons. They let them have 5 weeks off to get them refreshed for the game again. It's exactly what Biggar's done. He's gone short, he's gone down the middle of the park. Has he gone too short? It's just made the 10-metre mark.
But South Africa claw the possession back.
Yeah, they've been superb in the air today. South Africa again has a fantastic kick by Biggar, dropping right on the 10, and de Allende's just rose highest.
De Klerk, left-footed, launches it down into Wales territory. Biggar is under it. Gets the reception committee waiting for him though, but does well to turn and present the ball to Thomas Williams, who snipes up the blind side and then finds Will Rowlands. 90 seconds to go at the Cape Town Stadium. Taine Basham trying to go through a back row barn door.
Thomas Williams straight in the side of that contact area.
Yeah, yet another penalty.
It's getting a bit feisty on there after Klerk. Liam Williams, little bits off the ball. Dewi Lake in there. I like that. Youngster straight in the mix against Malcolm Marks.
Yeah, Faf de Klerk, he could start a fight in a phone box, mind, couldn't he? Faf de Klerk, very feisty. Wyn Jones just shaking his head.
Entry and holding.
So 79 minutes have just ticked over. They've got to go to the corner here. They want to try and score 4 tries, don't they, South Africa? But let's see what their mindset is.
Yes, kick a goal.
Oh, he's going for the kick at goal, so that means game will be over. Just shows where the mindset is of South African rugby at the minute.
Nothing silly, that's all I'm saying.
A compliment to Wales in a way. That you know, they just want to get the win and get off the field. And
yeah, I just think for the rugby fan, for the neutral, for probably the coaches, it's it's time to rep some things you spent a lot of time on in the week, but they're trying to run the clock down. They've used nearly 30-odd players over these 3 games. Have had meaningful game time, so it's an interesting call, but it probably tells you where the mindset of that group is at the minute.
No, he doesn't. It was 79-20, I think, when they elected.
It's Pollard.
Yeah.
He's already put over 2 penalties. This one would be his best of the lot. It's on the 10-metre line, about 12 metres from touch. And the clock has gone red, so this will be the last act of the game. Pollard trying to swing it round, which I think he does successfully. So a 3rd penalty for Pollard there. The loud blast of the whistle from Mr. Matthew Carley signals the end of the game, and South Africa have won comfortably in the end by 30 points to 14, but Gareth Delve, lots for Wales to be positive about.
Yeah, I think so, Phil. I think the big positive for me is just how much Wales stepped up to that challenge at the gain line. Physically, a lot of the time in defence, although the Springboks did manage to get a couple of close quarter tries, and just the bigger threat in attack. Sadly, set piece didn't give the team the platform to do that more often, but certainly they'll come away from this thinking there is nothing to fear from the Springboks and need to take that forward.
Richie?
Yeah, I think Gethin Jenkins over the series will be very happy defensively, and there's snippets, isn't there, in attack. We've seen bits, particularly today when the grain breaks up a bit. We've got the likes of Lewis Rees-Zammit, George North. Let's get him on the ball. I think that's probably got to be our blueprint now. How do we move forward? Very few sides, and the Springboks, the way they play the game. So I just think going into the autumn games, there's huge opportunities to play a few different players against the likes of Georgia and so on and so forth. But let's play a little bit more of an expansive brand. Let's roll the dice and let's really have a go at sides. 3 tries for South Africa then. Andre Pollard,
Manombi, the hooker, and the captain, Siya Kolisi. Pollard put over the sundries with his boot. Wales, a lovely try by Tommy Reffell in the first half, a penalty by Dan Biggar in the first half, 2 for Biggar in the second half, but it finished here. South Africa clear winners in the end. No history for Wales. South Africa 30, Wales 14.